What inspires you? Tonight we're going to talk about how to have joy. What keeps you going when your giddy up has gotten up and gone? And if you're in ministry and if you're in this battle long in life, there's going to be times when you want to quit. There's times when we run low and we run on empty and we need to laugh. We need to re-energize. We need to learn. We're going to learn 6 things tonight on how to recharge. But I get inspired. What recharges me is seeing these volunteers here last night, people who sacrifice, who are not being paid, who show up early, who do meaningless jobs, who don't get to stand up front. You read these stories. I think about my great-grandmother came to this country in 1896. Well, not this country. I forgot where I was. But this is a good country. She came to another country. 15 years old, escaped on a cattle boat during a revolution on the Russian-German-Armenian border. Amazing. Came here not knowing the language, had no friends, knew no one. To come here and start a life is amazing. Gets married at 16, has 3 kids, builds a little life together, furnishes their little tiny home, and then 1929 the stock market comes, crashes, and her husband's out of work. There's nothing to do. So every day he's looking for work up and down the streets of Philadelphia. You know, can I paint your house? Can I clean something? Can I chop wood? Anything. One day he's going down the streets of Philadelphia. He passes the zoo. They're putting up a sign, help wanted. Well, he needs work, so he says, I'll take the job. They said, you don't know what it is. He said, I don't care. When do I start? They said, well, we open at 9. So he shows up at 8, ready to work. Right, young people, early and ready to work. Just something I wanted to share. That was just from the Lord. He says, I got this job. They want me to start. What do you want me to do? And they said, well, it's a little different. He said, oh, I'll do anything. And they said, well, our gorilla died. We don't get a new gorilla for 6 weeks. We need someone to put on this outfit and go in the cage. Well, this is the craziest thing, but he's desperate, so he puts on this outfit, puts on the monkey head. They put him in a cage and lock the door. And the people come in at 9 o'clock, the bell rings, the kids come running in from the school buses. They look at him, and he looks at them, and he starts jumping up and down, and they're laughing. He does some somersaults, and they're calling their friends, and come look, come look. And he's swinging on the rope, and they're throwing, oh, he's having a blast, and he's getting paid for this. But 4 or 5 hours go by, he's getting tired, he's getting dizzy from somersaults, he's eating bananas, he's swinging on the rope, his hands are slippery. He flies out, and he lands in the lion's den. And that lion starts to get up, and he says, help me. And the lion comes closer, and he starts yelling louder, get me out of here. But people are screaming, they don't hear him. The lion springs on him, big claws cover his face, the teeth were bared, and just when he thought he was going to die, this little head popped out and said, if you don't shut up, we're both going to lose our job. All right, it's not a true story. The rest was true. But that gorilla reminds me of a lot of people in churches, in that they're one thing on the outside and there's something very different on the inside. You're smiling, you're nice, we're praising, we're worshiping. But I know everywhere I go, I know people are hurting. They're hurting everywhere. They're going through some very difficult times. After every program I do about 4 a week. And God has just been wonderful opening doors. But people come up after every single show and say 3 things. Number 1, I haven't laughed like that in... And 8 out of 10 of my shows are in churches. They haven't laughed. Church folks haven't laughed in years. Number 2, they just use 3 words. I needed that. A merry heart really does work good like a medicine. We need to laugh or we're going to cry. We have a choice sometimes. And number 3, people come up and say, I wasn't going to come tonight because. I wasn't going to come tonight because. And after the because, they share what's going on in their life, their home, their job, their family. And man, are they hurting. And they came tonight just holding out that there would be something that would encourage them. So I know tonight that there are folks just like that. And we're going to have some fun, and we're going to learn some things about what it takes. So how you doing? How you doing? I was at a pastor's conference, and the speaker from Promise Keepers asked this group of 500 pastors, on a scale of 1 to 10, how you doing? Not how's your church, how you doing? And he said, if you're under a 5 right now, stand up. And 70 to 80% of the pastors stood up. 70 to 80% of the pastors were struggling spiritually, emotionally, physically, worn out, burned out. They're hurting. And I thought, that's true of pastors. I wonder if that's true of other people. So I've been asking the different retreats and conferences I get to speak, and I found that's pretty typical. of almost everybody that we speak to. So if that's where you are tonight, we're going to get that number up. We're going to be filled with the joy of the Lord. We're going to see God do some awesome stuff. So our title tonight, How to Beat the Blahs. You ready to beat the Blahs? Defeat discouragement? We want to put that under our feet. We're going to learn 6 ways, at least 6 ways to bring more joy into your life. Oh, I like this clicker. Now, not every audience I do is a lot of fun. Several weeks ago, I did a show for the Amish. I'm not making it up. I took a picture of the hat rack, just so people know. I'm not making that up. That is not I got done my program. The guy came up to pay me. And he's got the white beard down to here, the suspenders on. He came up and handed me a check, and he said, "That was the funniest thing I've ever seen." He wanted me to come back, but it was quiet. Oh, my goodness. And they do have a sense of humor. A lady came up afterwards. A little Amish lady came up and poked me. You know those people who poke you when they talk? "I got a joke for you." Her husband's like, "Oh." She said, "Do you know why the Amish have so many children?" So she's giving me an Amish dirty joke. I don't know what. I said, "Why?" She said, "Because of the men at night." Get it? Get it? Get it? Her husband's like, "Come on, back to the buggy. Back to the buggy." Hey, that kills in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. I wish I don't have a stand. Can I do this real loud? This is just for you guys, because I get to speak sometimes in really big churches. I do not have a big church where I am in Philadelphia. We grew from 60 to 30 my first 5 years. We had 30 people in their 70s, 10 in their 80s, and 6 in their 90s at my church. You had to be on Social Security to be in the youth group. I mean, it was an old church. Our head deacon, his Social Security number was 6. I had 38 funerals my first 5 years. And it wasn't the 3 people I was praying God would take home. I struggle with this one. Man, a few weeks ago, I was at First Baptist Orlando, right next to Disney World. First Baptist Orlando, 12,000 people. 3 bathrooms, 1st, 2nd, 3rd John. They have 7 parking lots. I'm not making this up. 7 parking lots named after the fruit of the Spirit. So you can remember where you parked. If you want love and joy, you got to show up early. You come late like some of you guys, hey, you're out in long suffering. Big churches, little churches. I'm going to do this loud. I'm going to do this loud. But after I was here last time, because again, I'm a conservative Baptist. People don't cry at my church except when you take a special offering. Then the tears come out. But look, just for you guys, look. Here is the church. Here is the steeple. Open the doors and see all the people in Toronto get slain in the Spirit. I just made that up. I thought that was...